Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio.
All right, back here at Gamertag Radio, and we have here the legend, Henk Rogers. Henk, man, welcome to the show. I know we had you before. You guys were promoting the movie, but now this time you're promoting your new book, The Perfect Game, Tetris from Russia with Love. Welcome to the show, Henk.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about about this new book that's coming out very soon.
Well, I before the movie came out, I was working with Alexei on the script. They let us mess around with the stuff that happened in Moscow, meaning that they wanted us to get the Soviet Union right, the feeling of it, which we did and which they did. But they wouldn't let us touch any of the Hollywood, how can I say, stuff that never happened. So when I looked at the script, I said, "Oh my God, this is such a I don't know. It's so not what actually happened. There was no car chase. Come on, that's all Hollywood." And so I wanted to set the record straight. So I wrote that whole part where during the movie time, and somebody looked at that and said, "You know what? It kind of looks like a book, except that it's too short." And so, can you add something to it? It's like, well, I can't really embellish the part that I've already written. I mean, I would just be adding words. So I know I can write the before and after. So I wrote the rest of my game career into it.
Oh,
so
awesome.
It's kind of the story of my life at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what is a perfect game? The perfect game. What is it to you? Like for those that, it could be live, it could be Tetris.
Yeah, no, but this is specifically in relation to the into my career. I've always been searching for the perfect game. I tried to create the perfect game when I did Black Onyx back in 1983. It was pretty good, I would say. It launched a whole new genre in Japan. And there have been other games that are like great, but everybody should be, that's one way of looking at it, is the perfect game. But the perfect game could be when you're actually playing the game. Like if you get your high score, if you get like an epic win, when Blue Scooty, broke the game, that was for him the perfect game. He achieved it. So epic win is another perfect game. And so I like to think about life as a series of epic wins if I can achieve them.
Awesome. Now, out of all the Tetris games that have been that came out throughout the years, which one, in your opinion, the one is like, okay, I'm better in this game than any other version of Tetris?
Well, okay, so I probably played Game Boy the most. I carried that thing around with me everywhere I went, and played and played and played and played, and so I got pretty good at Game Boy Tetris. Since then, I invented other ways of scoring, like T-spin, and I never really got into being really good at making my own, winning the game using T-spins. And the better players now all know how to use T-spins. It's just a normal thing. So things have been invented since, and Game Boy is the one that I played the most.
Yeah, I love the Game Boy version. I have the NES version too. I have that one signed. Alexis signed that one, and I love Tetris Effect Connected. That one's like my all-time favorite one so far.
It's so amazing. I have a PlayStation, just so I can play Tetris Effect, and I'm such a Luddite. I basically, if I turn on the TV, I'll be watching the news. It's or YouTube's. I just don't go to the length of hooking up my my console and actually playing games on it.
Now, out of all the pieces in Tetris, which one is your favorite and your least favorite, and why?
So if I'm playing, of course, the I is my favorite. If you say outside the game, it's the T.
The T, okay.
The T, and it's because the I and the O are kind of boring. The S and Z can't live by themselves. They have to have their mirror image. the S and Z, and then the J and the L. They need to have their mirrors, so they can't stand alone. So T is the most interesting shape that can stand alone, and it's symmetrical. And when you use the T on a playfield, it changes the profile. Like you can put an S on top of an S and a Z on top of a Z and so on, and you can maintain the profile. But when that T comes out, that you have to make a choice. How do you want to change your profile? So I like that one. It's interesting.
Yeah, let's go back when the first time we went to CES and you got to see Tetris for the first time when you actually played. What was it that stood out to you about this game than any other games at that time in the 80s for you?
It was just so simple. I mean, like every other game had like characters and story and whatnot. And this thing was like, okay, we don't need any story. We don't need any characters. We don't need nothing. We just need blocks. It's like, really? Can you actually make a game that is just blocks? And that was intriguing. And when I played it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so out of nowhere. I mean, like, I don't think somebody would have come up with it outside the Soviet Union, because the Soviet Union just didn't have games. They mathematical puzzles. That was about as far as they got.
So you knew right away that this game was made in Soviet Union at that time?
Oh yeah, no, it was that was clear. They advertised it as being a game from the Soviet Union. The whole cover of the box was like the St. Basil's Cathedral in Red Square, and so yeah, they advertised it as being. They even the name of the game, they had like a Cyrillic in it. So that everybody knew it's from Russia.
So okay, so now fast forward. Okay, you got the game. You already want to make things happen now with this game. What was it how hard was it to get connected with Nintendo, to get the okay from them to work with you guys and them?
So I had been working with Nintendo already for a number of years. So on the Japanese version of the NES, the Famicom, Tetris was my third game. Mm-hmm. So I was already in the business. And I already was in the business with Mr. Arakawa at NOA. We made joypads, something called the NES Max, which we, I sold Mr. Arakawa and Nintendo 2 million joypads. And we negotiate regularly. So by the time Tetris came around, we were already buddies. And so it was Consumer Electronics Show of '89. After I went up to Seattle and I met with Mr. Arakawa. And I said, I know you're coming out with Game Boy. You should include Tetris with Game Boy. And he said, why should I include Tetris? I have Mario. And I said, if you want little boys to buy your Game Boy, include Mario. But if you want everyone to buy your Game Boy, then include Tetris. And he called in his gamer experts, and they all said, yeah, that's true. And so we made a deal. We shook hands. And that was the basis. That handshake of me was the reason I went to the Soviet Union next month.
Yeah. That like thinking about it, because I know the NES was very successful with Mario. So for you to convince Nintendo, like, hey, instead of Mario, add Tetris to be part of the Game Boy device, that is a huge accomplishment for you, I think. That was major. Yeah, because to change their minds like that, that was amazing.
Yeah. And I said, look, you can include Tetris, and then you can sell Mario afterwards. You can make full pop. Don't give it away. You can sell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I remember seeing pictures at that time too. There was President Clinton, his wife Hillary Clinton was actually during the flight playing Tetris on the original Game Boy. I remember seeing that online. I'm like, wow. So when you see that at that time, seeing how mainstream this game got like, because I know originally the NES version it was good, right, but nothing compared to the Game Boy version.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, it's vindication. I put my heart into. So the Game Boy version was based on my Famicom version in Japan. The way that the game is broken up into levels. You get a break in between levels where it tallies the score, so you know why you got the 400s or the the bigger points for the long piece. I wanted people to know that, and so I mean that's sort of the cadence of arcade games like Pac-Man or Galaxian. Is you play for a while and then there's a break, and then you play for a while and then there's a break. So that carried into the Game Boy, and boy, did it work.
Yeah, I remember the first time, because I was living in Dominican Republic, so my mom got me a Game Boy. It had Tetris, right? So I was like, man, I'm dying to play this multiplayer. So then finally, a friend of mine also got a Game Boy with Tetris. Let me tell you, when I played that game multiplayer for the first time with the link cable, my mind was completely blown away. I'm like, oh my god! So I got like the whole neighborhood together, like for us to play Tetris, man. So that was really really amazing. So was that something that you pitched to Nintendo, or Nintendo came up with the concept like for like the 2-player multiplayer concept for the Game Boy version? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember having that discussion with Nintendo. The only thing that stands out in my mind is that they didn't have a random number generator. When they finally sent me the master, I don't remember having a cable. Anyway, I played it, and I said, these pieces aren't coming out random. There's something wrong with the random number generator. And like if you have like Mario, the numbers don't have to be random. It doesn't matter, because if it's weird, it's just weird. That's just the way it goes. But in the case of Tetris, if one piece comes out more than the others, that's weird. And so I had my QA people count pieces, and sure enough, it wasn't flat. There was a peak. I think the S was coming out twice as much as the rest. And I said, this is unacceptable. The Russians will never pass this, And so on Saturday, they sent out their programmer, and we worked together to fix the random number generator, and we did.
Yeah, I know Tetris turned 40 years old, man. How's it, in your opinion, how much that changed your life? Seeing how much success Tetris throughout the 4 decades.
If it wasn't for Tetris, I might still be in the computer game business. I might still be trying to make the next sequel to the Black Onyx or something. There's a point at which you can retire. Maybe you can sell your company if you're lucky, but Tetris is the golden goose. It keeps on giving, and so we just make sure that we feed the goose.
Mm-hmm. Now, out of all the Tetris games, which one was the one that like, wow, I've never thought that somebody would come up with a concept with this type of game for Tetris? There's so many versions.
No, but I would say Tetris Effect is the one that really blew my mind. Yes, this is like takes Tetris to a whole new level. You're not only playing Tetris, but you're playing Tetris in another dimension.
And the message too, like actually when you finish and complete the whole thing, I just love how everybody's connected. Like this, just the messaging was awesome too. Playing that, like my wife. She got to play for the first time, right? And she completed the whole all the levels and everything, right? And she actually cried at the last level. She's like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing!" Yeah, it's touching, like the messaging, how well they. Cause I love their games too, but this one like took it to the next level, in my opinion.
So I took Mizuguchi, who's the designer.
Yes.
And I took Mizuguchi to Burning Man before he made Tetris Effect.
Okay. Oh, really?
I think it might have something to do with it.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, man. Yeah.
There's like, the whole space of Burning Man is just like so incredible.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Now, for those, why people should check out this new book of yours? And I know there's so many books out there, but why this is the one that people should definitely check it out once it releases?
Well, I mean, if you're interested at all in the history of the computer game industry and Nintendo and it's even surrounds the fall of the Soviet Union, those are all interesting things. But it's a kind of a rags to riches story. I grew up. We were poor. I never got an allowance. I worked my way through college. And it's sort of like, how can you go from nothing to having a business and being successful? That's another way of looking at it, and it's by, I would say that life is a game, and I've had a series of epic wins in my life, and I still strive for that. I'm still looking for the next epic win, which is to fix climate change.
Do you still? I mean, I know you guys probably talk still. You and Alexi, like how important has been the relationship between you two guys throughout
Are
the
you
years?
kidding me? Like, if we're in the same, I lived in Seattle area for a couple of years during COVID. Every other day, Alexi and I get together, bottle of wine. We pounded a lot of wine, man. And so we get together regularly, and we've gone on trips together. This is the true definition of best friends forever. We shook hands on a deal in 1993, how I was going to help him with Tetris. That deal is still alive today. That handshake.
Wow.
I mean, we've gone through lots of different companies and iterations on both sides and so on, but that handshake is still alive. That's how yeah.
Yeah, I mean that all because you just showed up at CES and you saw the game there, right? All because of that.
Well,
Look how much it changed.
You could say that. I mean,
what I'm saying, like, just like in life in general, like everything happens for a reason. I think
right.
you were at the right place, right time.
That's right.
And fast forward to now.
Yeah, and yes, and we're always at the right place at the right time. You just got to recognize it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some people appear at the right place at the right time, and then they don't take that opportunity. Like if you're in that situation, go for it. What have you got to lose? Well, what you have to lose is your life could have changed if you didn't take that jump. So go for it, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I know your daughter took over the company, right? So how's that been? Because I know she was in the movie too, like her as a little girl, seeing you doing all this behind the scenes and all that, right? Fast forward to now, her just taking over the company. How's that been?
I worked for my dad for many years in the gem business, and I hated it. He never listened to me, and so when he died, the business fell apart. Nobody knew what was going on. It was all in his head. And so I said to my kids, look, I'm not asking you to work for me. This is not like you must work for me because you're the oldest, blah, 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 that kind of thing, No, I'm not forbidding it, but if you work for me and our work gets in the way of our family, you're fired. I can always hire somebody to do what you can do. I cannot hire another family member. That's it. Family is family. So under those conditions, Maya actually, she went and got her degree in business, which I never did. I was a computer science geek, and so she got her business degree and joined the company after working for I think it was Honda for a while, and then she worked for Sony as a assistant producer. So she knew the game business. Then she came to work for me and worked her way up. I didn't give her the business; she took it.
That's awesome. Actually, I saw her. Was it last month at Dice? I'm like, oh, I see her making moves. Like she's always making moves too. That was cool. Going to the 40th anniversary celebration event that you guys had Tetris in Los Angeles. It was cool seeing everybody. Nolan Bushnell was there too. Legend too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was awesome to see everybody together. I'm like, oh man, look at this. Like how much all these games, like you guys, like completely changed my life as a gamer too, So seeing everybody together, my mind was blown, man. So it was good to see that. Yeah. Now, Henk, your legacy, man. What years from now, when people discover Tetris for the first time, the next generation, what is it you want people to remember you?
I want people to remember that I convinced them that fixing climate change is just a decision. That's how I want to be remembered. And so, I'm working on getting people in different jurisdictions. We got Hawaii to make the decision to go 100% renewable energy in 2015, and we're on track. We're at 36% renewable energy. We have 15 other states that have the same legislation now. So over 51% of the people in this country are living with a mandate that says that they have to go 100% renewable energy for electricity by 2040, 2045, 2050, somewhere around there. And now we're doing it for the rest of the world, starting with island and island countries. So DR is going to be is on our list as one of the. What we do is we bring them to Hawaii, we show them what we did in Hawaii, we teach them how to do it. They ask all the questions, and then they go back and they do it in their home country. We bring someone from the government, someone from the utility, someone from the regulatory agency, and someone from the community. So 4 people, and basically we just give them the confidence to say, hey, you know what? Because before they come, they think it's impossible. And that's the way Hawaii used to think. It used to be impossible. But now, of course, we're doing this.
You said DR? You said DR? Dominican Republic?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. My family's from there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You mentioned that
really.
earlier. We've had Dominica.
Dominica too, yeah. Okay.
We have Dominica, but not DR. We have Jamaica, Grenada, Dominica, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. I mean, and all kinds of Pacific islands.
Really cool to see. Really cool to hear that. Yeah. All right. So, one last time, when people could purchase this book, when it comes out, when's the official date?
April Fool's Day, of course.
Ooh, April 1st. That's very soon. That's a couple of weeks. Let's go. Yeah. So you could go right now and pre-order the book, right? Too. So
that's right.
And I think that would be good to get in advance. Just be prepared to arrive at the house April 1st.
April 1st, yeah. I should be prepared with a QR code or something, but I don't. Maybe
it's all good. I'll put a link on our site, our podcast. No, Hank, I just want to say congratulations and good luck with the book. I can't wait to actually get a copy too, and much luck, man. We definitely will stay in touch because I still play Tetris to this day, man. I even have my copy. My copy is somewhere in the back. See right there? That's Tetris right there.
Okay.
There you go.
I see it.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Hank.
Hey, by the way, where are you based?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay. All right.
So it was easy for me to go to the event, the 40th anniversary. I'm like, this is perfect. Right. I'm in town. I actually took my baby, my daughter. I took her over there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we'll be there, I think in June.
Oh, for Summer Game Fest?
Yeah.
That week? Okay. Oh, definitely. Awesome.
See you then.
All right. Awesome.
Aloha.
All right.